specifically on personal continuity. So we start with them with a personal continuity plan, which then feeds into their business continuity plan, which then in turn feeds into the regional continuity plan or the parish continuity plan. So that's where we start, is we start with the individuals, then move them to the LSBDC to help them create the idea of what a business continuity plan. We talk about that throughout the process. But again, business continuity plans on a bigger scale could be sometimes $200,000, $250,000. And small businesses don't need that. I mean, that's not really what they need. But our job is to create an awareness of this. And whether they use my service or not, as long as they're aware there are services out there that we can refer to them, that costs them absolutely nothing. And again, our goal is to make sure that plan happens.
Now, that's the private sector. What about the public sector? Are you able to provide similar kinds of services to public sector organizations or entities in government?
What we're doing with the government right now is we're working on what we call the Resiliency project. And what that project is about is how to make this region more resilient. So by bringing together all the different partners, so we bring together the business community, both small and large. We're bringing in the nonprofits, so the NGOs. We're bringing in the government sectors, and also the one piece that's always missing from that is the member of the community, each individual person, to begin the dialogue of what would a resilient New Orleans look like. And so again, for us, we all know what it means to be individually resilient. We all know what it means is that you stand in line again, you get out of line to stand in line, you're used to this, you're used to that. And those things that what we have experienced here in New Orleans has been unheard of in modern times. And so we have had to go back to what we know and to do well and what we do best. And there's a lot of information that we can put together to share with the community, but also to work together in the community to come up with what do we want New Orleans to look like. We've lost what New Orleans was in many aspects of it was. I can drive around the city of New Orleans and say that used to be. And it's one thing when we say that used to be Schwegmann's. That's one issue, but when we drive through a neighborhood and say that used to be this neighborhood, that's a different dialogue altogether. And so what we have today, which is the first time in modern history, is we have a great responsibility and a great opportunity to create the city as we would like it to be for the next 300 years. Are
we doing a pretty decent job at it, or are we moving too slowly, or have we not really fashion that direction that we're going to be going in your opinion? It's been more than 5 years now.
I always felt it would be a 10-year project. I mean, it has to be a 10-year project. And I would never say that the people that aren't trying to do the job aren't doing the job. I think that we're moving at a snail's pace. And I think that's part of where the personal resilience is.
Why do you think that's the case? Now, I know one of the reasons is resources.
Correct.
It takes money to rebuild a house. It takes money. It takes a lot of money to rebuild a city.
Correct.
And especially a city that is as old and that was as damaged as New Orleans was. So money is one of the problems, and perhaps the major problem.
Correct.
What are some of the other problems? Is it that people are not ready, or people would like to kind of keep it the way it was? We know that we have a city that is very, very steeped in tradition.
Absolutely.
And people, in some cases, don't want to change, or they're very, very slow to change. What do you see going on?
Well, as a native New Orleanian, there is...
From New Orleans East.
From New Orleans East, amen. And so I understand completely the desire not to want to change, because there's so much that makes this city, to me, one of the greatest cities on the planet. And whenever I travel, people say, oh, New Orleans. You never have to say New Orleans, Louisiana, New Orleans, Louisiana, USA. New Orleans is basically a country all to itself, which gives it benefits and obviously some deficits to that. The one thing that I really think that where we can make a real difference is giving the members of the community a